Hello and welcome back to another edition here of the TribPreps video series. We are on week 6 of the football season. Week 6, over halfway through it now, and it's another week full of a lot of interesting matchups here.
There's some, yes.
And we'll just run quickly right through them right now. In the MVC, we have the legendary, Logan at Central, another edition of the Battle of the Arc coming up Friday night. Sparta, West Salem. And Toma on Alaska wraps up the MVC. And over at the Swall, we have Darlington Aquinas, which is probably, honestly, one of the more interesting games of the night.
Yeah, very well could be.
Both teams 4-1, so we'll touch on that one. Luther at Fenimore to wrap up the Swall. Cedar Plus, Vanguard Royal. Cash at Nisita, Brookwood at New Lisbon. GT at Nukusa over in South Central. And Black River Falls at Watoma. SWC, River Valley at Viroqua. Richland Center at PDC. Dodgeville at Arcadia, Westby at Platteville, and Dairyland, Blair Taylor at Melrose Minduro.
That could be a good game.
Yeah,
there. That's a big one for Blair Taylor for sure.
Yeah, Melman coming off of last week where their long Dairyland streak was snapped.
Yep, and Blair Taylor's played very well in conference games, so it's been a while since Blair Taylor's won that conference, so big matchup for the Wildcats.
Yeah, it's been a while, because obviously Melrose, 25 in a row they had.
Yep.
Over in the Ridge and Valley, we'll move over Waseca Seneca at DeSoto. That game starts at 6 p.m.
Another big game there.
Another big game
for the Pirates, yeah.
Mm-hmm. DeSoto's playing really well right now. And then move over to non-conference. Our final two games here are Stevens Point at Holman, interesting matchup, and Caledonia at Rochester Lords, a matchup that looked really good about 5 weeks ago.
Yes, looked great before the season started, and then Lords has struggled with Caledonia being a AA champion and Lords being a AAA champion last year. It looked like that was going to be maybe the threat to the winning streak, but Lords has kind of fallen on some tough times in recent weeks, and Caledonia's flourishing, so it's certainly not going to be the matchup we thought it might be.
No, it is not. I know we were really looking forward to that one. Of course, obviously Caledonia 58 straight in a row, and then Lords is the Class 3A defending state champion from a year ago, but they're 1-3 right now. Before we get started, Todd, we're about a little over halfway of the season here. We're starting to figure out what teams are legitimate contenders here. Has there been really any big surprises, really anything that's really kind of stuck out to you as we're about halfway through this midway point here in the season?
I think two things that have surprised me, I guess, is I didn't know that Aquinas would get off to this great of a start. Being 4-1 and that one loss being a game that they could have won, a 7-6 loss to Prairie du Chien, and they didn't play badly in that game, played very good defensively. And so them being 4-1, I think, and the next 3 weeks will really kind of tell us a lot about Aquinas. Starting with this Darlington game, we're gonna learn a little more about where that team is based on this game versus maybe the first few that they've played. But they're going out and getting the results they want, winning games, which they've wanted, been trying to do for a while there, and now they got the right kids on the field. Surprised that West Salem has struggled as much as it has, and I know there have been some issues there with they're moving some people around. They've had some injury type things going on, but it's been a while since we've seen a West Salem team struggle like this one is struggling right now. And I think when you looked at them at the beginning of the season, they had a new quarterback, but one that could make plays. They've now moved on from him, made a little switch there. They had what appeared to be a good back in Derek Roberts, big guy, and what looked like could be a pretty good offensive line. Succeeding in the conference, I thought was going to be difficult for them, but I didn't expect to see these kinds of struggles. And even after the Holman game, they lost that game 25-7. Still played well defensively, and I thought moving forward they might be able to get something going. But we're in a dire time now, and they have a lot of really tough games left. So those are kind of the two surprises, I think, for me this season.
Yeah, now West Salem, of course, has Sparta coming up.
Exactly.
Sparta last week obviously lost to Onalaska, a great game,
And they still have to play Onalaska. They still have to play Central. It's going to be a tough finish to the season, I think, for West Salem, too.
Yeah, and, let's say in the MVC, let's just really hit on that Logan Central game. Todd, you're going to be at that one. Of course, you can say all the time, that, or as the old saying goes, you can throw records out the window when it comes to rivalry, but,
I can't believe we're saying that on this video.
Yeah, I know, Todd. I know you don't like it, but I just had to say it. I know.
But in this instance, I think if you go back and look, most of the times when these two teams play, the team that should win ends up winning. I don't think that there are a lot of stunners here, and I think that's what Logan's going to have to the trend they're going to have to buck if they win this game. I think this certainly be a surprise if Logan goes out and wins it. Coming off a good game though, I think going into it had a little bit of momentum. It's just going to be really tough to stop Johnny Davis, and I know Johnny Davis isn't Central, but when you look at it, his success will lead to success.
Yeah.
And Logan's gonna have to find a way to not let him dominate. They're not gonna be able to stop him. You have to just try to minimize what he does. And I think the big thing in that, to me, is the offense being able to control the ball. If they can do that, that's less snaps for Johnny. That's less potential trouble that you have to win the game. So I think if the Rangers can go out there and put together some drives, Max Tarsi's having a good season. Another team made a quarterback change, Mr. Waite there, and we'll see how ready he is moving forward. This is going to be a big game for him to go out and play, and it'll just be a challenge, I think. That's certainly not me saying that Logan can't win this game. It can, but it's going to be tough, and it's all going to center around what they can do with Johnny Davis.
And of course, Johnny, I mean, he has close to 800 yards rushing this year and 1,000 yards passing. I mean, just a dual threat. Really does all.
He's doing everything for Central right now, and it's impressive the kind of season he's putting together, and especially after his brother got hurt, losing a big target like that. He certainly isn't a one-man team, but he's doing a lot to help Central get to where it is, at least.
And now, Peter Fleming kind of seems like to be the next go-to guy for a little bit.
Yeah, and his numbers are starting to go up. They're starting to involve him more. He played pretty well against Holman in the plays that they used him in that game. So he might be someone else that they can lean on. But again, if you're Logan, if Fleming beats you, that's one thing, and if Johnny beats you, it's another. You got to try to make someone else beat you besides Johnny.
Yeah, exactly. I think Max Hart's going to have a big game because I think he can run against that defense there a little bit.
Yeah, that's one. Central a little vulnerable with that. So, and Central's had a lot of injuries this season, so I'm not sure who'll be healthy and who won't in this game. But opportunity for Logan, but it's still going to be a tough job.
And moving on to the MVC, we mentioned West Salem's facing Sparta last week. Sparta, Alaska was a great game. You were at that game as well. Came down to Kolesneski just simply didn't get the ball in the fourth quarter. That's kind of what happened. And his long streak of 18 straight games of
19, I think it was.
19?
18 or 19.
18. Oh, 19. Okay.
18 or 19 games in a row with either a touchdown pass or a touchdown run, minimum of that. And Alaska kept him out of the end zone. The last time it had happened was an Alaska game. So Alaska certainly has done well with him in the last couple of years. But I think this will be one where we're going to see the angry Sparta come out. They certainly weren't happy to lose that game. It's not like they got blown out. They lost by a touchdown. So, they had a chance to win it. They also, kind of had a drive deep in Alaska territory that fell apart on them. So they hung right with the Hilltoppers, and I think this one is where they'll have to go out and show people that they're back on track. And I think just looking at what West Salem has done the last couple of weeks, I certainly would like Sparta's chance to go out and do that.
And moving on to the MVC, we'll just go with Alaska since that's who Sparta played last weekend. Great game, like we said. Todd, you kind of had an interesting piece this week about Yashinsky and his team kind of convincing him to go for that big 4th and 4 late in the game. Maybe just kind of describe what you saw and what kind of that relationship is like with the players, how unique, I guess, that kind of is.
He's a guy that values the input of his players. He did say after the game that's the second time they've been able to change his mind. So it's not like he's going to them and asking them what to do. It's only the second time it's happened. But he's also a guy who's always talking to players. He wants to know what's going on. He doesn't send them to other coaches. He does at times. But I think he really does a good job of keeping a finger on the pulse of what his kids are doing, what they're feeling during a game. And they talked them into going for it on 4th down, and they put the game away by making that 1st down. And you said Wisniewski didn't get a snap in the 4th quarter, and you can't win a game if you don't have the ball.
Yeah,
they ran the kickback to get within a touchdown, but Alaska just put together 2 really good drives. Now I think when you're going against Toma, I think we'll see more than 21 points in this game. The Toma defense isn't what Sparta is, and I think this is after last week. I think we'll just kind of see Onalaska keep chugging forward. Toma struggled as of late, so I think this is one that's kind of firmly on the side of Onalaska unless something drastic happens.
Yeah, unless something, like you said, drastic happens. I think it's safe to say Onalaska's going to win big on that one. But another game where really, we touched on at the very beginning was Darlington Aquinas. That's a game we're definitely going to have our eye on. It's a game where, heading into before the season, it's a game I guess not really thinking both teams are going to be 4-1.
Yeah, I mean Darlington's been good for a while. They're not the powerhouse right now that they were. They were a state power for a while. As recently as a few years ago. Aquinas is one of those teams that there was a lot of hope for a big season. You kind of had to see it start to happen though first.
Yeah.
Before you could buy into it.
That's a good point.
And it has started to happen. So I think this is the biggest football game that Aquinas has had in a while. It's a game that they've showed that they can go out and compete in a game like this. I have not seen Darlington, so I'm not sure exactly what they'll bring to the table, other than I know it's a good football program. So if Aquinas wins this game, it's the biggest win that Aquinas has had in quite a while. It also gets them in the playoffs, and they haven't been in the playoffs in 7 years, I think.
Wow.
So it's been a little while. Maybe not as long as people might think, but it's been about 7 years. I think it was 2012 was the last time they were in. And they need one more win to get there. And they do have Onalaska Luther the last week of the season. And I'm sure, with the way the two teams have played at this point, you have to look at Aquinas having the edge in that one.
Yeah.
So there's the win, but they don't want to go out and play poorly, in these next 3 games that they have against the top teams in the conference. So Darlington's the first of 3 in a row, and we'll see what Aquinas can bring to the table.
And we'll have a reporter there at that one. You'll recognize him. I don't want to give it away, but you'll recognize who will be there at Logan for that game. He's been around here was around here for a number of years, and we're excited that he's going to be able to do that. He's back. Yep. So we're not going to give it away, but we'll let you kind of figure that one out on your own there. But for a game that I'm going to be at Stevens Point at Holman. It's an interesting game because you look at Stevens Point, they're a huge school, a great conference, one that features Kimberly, Nina, a lot of
they've succeeded in that conference.
Yeah, they've passed. And so when Kowalski's making the schedule, it looked like a great game, but unfortunately Stevens Point is coming into Friday night with 37 total points scored so far. They're 0-5 on the year, so they're having a down year this season.
Holman is not.
And Holman is not. So I think that pretty much sums up the game as much as we can.
I think it's a good game for Holman to have on the schedule.
Yes.
Regardless of Stevens Point's performance or record to this point, it's a bigger school. Still have a lot of kids on the team. It is Stevens Point, so I think it was good for Kowalski to go out and get this game, get on the schedule. I think Holman certainly goes in with the upper hand, and no matter what happens, I think Holman has nothing but good to get out of it. It'd be different if you're looking at a Division 4, Division 5 team coming in with no wins versus a Stevens Point, which is one of the bigger schools in the state. So I think it's good to have the challenge in there, but I think Holman will be able to rise to it, especially with the way it's played as of late.
And the other non-conference game we have is Caledonia at Lords, Rochester Lords. Like I said, that was a game we were really looking forward to. Two great football programs, and unfortunately it's not the game we thought it was going to be originally, but I was talking to Carl Frichte after last week's game when I was out there in Caledonia when they beat Chatfield pretty handedly. He said, look, Lords, the record is what it is, but we still know what a great program, what a great coaching staff is in place there.
Yep.
And so you can never take that away from a team, and you can never overlook how important something like that is. And so so I wouldn't expect, Caledonia in any shape or form to take it easy on Lords, or to underestimate them in any capacity whatsoever, because Lords has the program prestige. They went 14-0 last year, Class 3A state champion. So the prestige is there. Unfortunately, they just have not had the year that we're used to seeing from them.
And if you're Lords, what more motivation is there than beating Caledonia?
Yeah.
So if this is a team that can perform at a high level, this is the game you're going to see it, I think. Tons of motivation having a team come into your town and get ready to play you, and you're not going to think about the fact that you've won one game so far. You're going to think we got a chance to beat Caledonia.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll get a ready Lords team. It'll just be a matter of, can that ready Lords team hang with a team that's won as much as Caledonia?
Yeah, and of course Caledonia enters the game with 58 straight wins. That's the nation's longest win streak. We say that every week. We enjoy saying that quite a bit. If they don't necessarily like saying it a whole lot.
Have to say it.
But we have to say it. We like saying it. And also, too, big news, came down today, actually, that Noah King, Caledonia's quarterback, commits to South Dakota State to play basketball with his brother. Todd, you talked to him not too long ago, actually. What do you just have to say about it?
I think he's doing what people expected. He didn't have other offers. He had other interests from schools, and I don't know if they kind of thought he was a done deal to South Dakota State with Owen, his brother Owen, playing there. So I don't know if that kind of deterred teams or not. I was surprised that he didn't have a few other offers at least, because his game is that good, and he'll be good on the next level, I think. So it was the only offer he had, and I think that's probably where he wanted to go anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So he's perfectly comfortable going. He said he was perfectly comfortable with how his recruiting shook down, and happy with it. So he gets to go play with his brother again, the first time in a couple of years next year, and now we wait and see where Eli's going to go.
Yeah,
and what Eli's going to do.
That's going to be a fun one, because Eli already has the basketball offer to Northern Iowa. He got in August.
Yep.
And I think that's.
And he may be getting some football stuff coming up. I don't know.
The coaches would be dumb not to look at him for football.
Yes, great athlete.
Yeah, great athlete. Well, Todd, I think that's going to do it for us.
Yes.
Once again, just want to reiterate, everything can be found, all the stuff we do, all the games we go, videos, also can be found online, lacrossetribune.com. Also follow us along at Twitter. We'll be posting highlights, updates throughout these games are happening, and tomorrow night, me and Todd and I will wrap it up like we do every Friday night, and recap it, and that'll be up online. And of course, we'll have all of our stuff up on Sunday, all the follow-up stuff on Sunday as well. But lacrossetribune.com, we said it, we've hammered it. That's the place to be.
Yes.
That's the place to be.
Throughout the weekend.
Throughout the weekend, yes, exactly. But for me, Alex VandenHouten, and to my left, Todd Sommerfeldt, that'll be all for us tonight. Have a good Friday, and we'll see you out there. Thanks.